Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's web conference. My name is Divesh Nangia and I'll be serving as your moderator today. You will be hearing a session from Wei Chen. He is a Microsoft certified trainer and a solution specialist. He will be addressing the topic on this very timely subject MB-300 Microsoft Dynamics 365 Unified Operation Core. Furthermore, if you are facing any other audio or video issues, please post in your queries in the Q&A panel and I am here to answer all your queries. Also, your technical questions will be answered by your trainer, so please feel free to ask those as well. Now, I would like to turn today's event over to your presenter, Wei Chen. You can take it from here now.
Hello everyone. Today we will continue our fourth session of how to prepare business application exam of MB-300 Microsoft Dynamics 365 Unified Operation Core. This is a fundamental of Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations Functional Consultant Associate Certifications. My name is Wei Chen. I am Microsoft Certified Trainer and a Solution Specialist. Here is my contact information. Please feel free to contact me if you have any questions about prepare the exam. In today's session, we will learn about how to implement common integration features and data migration in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. Session number 4. Implement common integration feature and data migration. Here is today's learning agenda. First, we will understand about Microsoft Office integration in Microsoft Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. How do we use Office integration together with the ERP system? Learn to configure email, SMTP, or Exchange server within Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. Learn about create and maintain email templates with Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. Understand about use Power BI together with Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. Learn to set up network printing within Microsoft Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. Understand integrate data from multiple sources into common data service for apps such as CRM. Understand bring our own database feature. Learn to perform the test, migration, and validate output. Okay, first, let's learn how to use Microsoft Office integration in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations to export data into Excel. After modification, if necessary, we will be able to publish it back and then create an Excel workbook as a template by using Workbook Designer. Microsoft Office integration capabilities in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations provide us with a productive environment that help we get the job done by using Office product. The Open in Microsoft Office menu is available on any page that has a data source. User just need to click the Office 365 icon at right of menu bar and it provides 4 types of options depend on the form page we opened. First one, Open in Excel. Open in Excel option that are automatically added for entities and entity-based template that share the same root data source as a current page. This option makes it easier to read that in Excel and publish data changes back to OData service for those entities. Normally, opening Excel is a little bit caution when we use it because it can easily damage or mess up data in Excel and prevent us to publish back. Another option is export to Excel. Export to Excel option is more safe to use. It's kind of a one-way direction, which export the data from Dynamics 365 for financial operations into an Excel book. This option that automatically added all the visible grids on the page to the Excel book. And this option are static exports of data from a grid. In other words, user will not be able to publish any change in Excel workbook back to Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. The other option with Microsoft Office integration is export to Word. This option are automatically added for entity-based template that share the same raw data source as a current page. These templates are stored in the document template page. In other words, some pages in Dynamics 365 for financial operations let user to export the form as a Word document in Microsoft Office 365, such as invoice, purchase orders. We can use Excel Workbook Designer page to design an editable custom export workbook that contains an entity and a set of fields. To open Workbook Designer page, we just need to go to comma, Office Integration, then select Excel Workbook Designer. A workbook template can have multiple data sources. It also can have unbound content. The Open in Excel experiences are listed on Open in Microsoft Office menu. The Excel Workbook Designer page provides an easy way to get generate Open in Excel experiences for an entity. It also provides a mechanism with a blank workbook that contains just Excel app and a pointer to the server. The default fields that will be added into workbook are the key and mandatory fields of the entity. If a different set of fields should be provided by default, then those fields can be added into auto-report fields group on the entity. When a relationship is defined between two entities, if the identifier for one entity is shown on the other entity, then the fields that will be shown in that lookup are either the key fields or the fields in the auto lookup field group if it is not empty. Relationship looks are not currently supported, but they will eventually be displayed in the app in the similar way to the enumeration lookup. Document management, also known as document handling in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. It stores file, attachment, and notes for a records. It includes information about the concepts and features that are involved in this functionality. For example, normally we like to attach a scanned vendor invoice when we create an AP invoice payment journal to be as approved. To add a document attachment, user need to click a paperclip icon at right of menu bar where it is just at the right side of Office 365 icon. Document attachment can be note type, file type, URL type, image type, and we also can define the note attachment is external user purpose or internal use purpose. Internal use attachment will not be shown on the external document, such as customer invoice or vendor purchase orders. Document management supports saving record attachment in Azure Blob storage and SharePoint Online. Database storage is obsolete. Azure Blob storage is equivalent to storage in the database because documents can only be accessed through the application, and it offers the added benefits of providing storage that doesn't negatively affect performance of the database. Azure Blob storage is the default and works immediately. SharePoint storage will work immediately if we have an Office 365 license because we auto discover the SharePoint tenant such as user on tenant a.on Microsoft.com. Office 365 or Azure Active Directory tenant gets tenant a.sharepoint.com as the SharePoint site. If document management has been turned off by the user, turn it on by selecting comma, Office integration, then Excel Workbook Designer. In the options, General, Miscellaneous, and set document handling active to yes. Microsoft Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations email service will allow user to email documents from email account with Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations. Using a generic email address as aliases to users will allow emails sent from Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations to appear to be from an individual user. User can select default email template as we discussed in last session about user options. Then automatically trigger an email sent to our customer or vendor when custom invoice posted or purchase order generated. For example, the behavior of the email subsystem is influenced by combination of administrator configuration, user configuration, and user choices. As an administrator, on the email parameter page, note the following setting on the email providers tab. The batch email provider specified which email provider will be used to send email that are sent by processes in a batch or non-interactive manner. The exchange provider will use account associated with the batch process. To specify the maximum size of the single email that can be sent via the email subsystem, set a value for attachment size limit field. To proper set up SMTP for email processing in Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations. On the email parameter page, note the following setting on the SMTP setting tab. In the ongoing email server, we need to specify the host name of the desired SMTP server. For Office 365 production, including start.onmicrosoft.com accounts, use smtp.office365.com as SMTP server. We can find this setting at outlook.office.com at Settings, Mail, POP, and IMAP. However, Outlook Hotmail will use smtp-mail.outlook.com if you want to use Hotmail account or Outlook account. In SMTP port number fields, the port number should be set to 587 for secure transport. Specify as needed to send an email via appropriate email account by specifying credential in the user name and password fields. As the Office 365 admin, we might have company requirements to allow some users access to another user mailbox. For example, we might want to enable an assistant to send or read email from their manager's mailbox, or give one of our users the ability to send email on behalf of another user. All users need to provide SMTP account, send as and send on behalf of permissions to enable the ability to send simple email transfer protocol, SMTP mail. We can configure send as permission in the Office 365 Admin Center, where it is at portal.office.com/admin. At users, active users, user, add mailbox permission, send email from the mailbox. The specify if SSL is required field determines whether secure transport is used. Typically, this is yes, except for internal or troubleshooting scenario, then we'll switch that to no. After setup SMTP, to test all configuration, use the Test Email tab and specify an email provider and the receipt aliases, and then select Send Test Email button. Because Microsoft Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations using batch process to process email subsystem, so email deliver, make sure batch process and the batch server is proper configured in order to test email. Send email via SMTP. Email workflow that are enabled via the sysemail framework can also be created in a simple email dialog box and then sent via Simple Mail Transfer Protocol SMTP. In Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations, go to Email Parameter page, select SMTP setting, set ongoing email server to desired SMTP server, such as smtp.office365.com or smtp-mail.outlook.com. Set username and password to appropriate email account and password. leave specify if SSL required turn on, and leave SMTP number set to 587. Click Save. In an internal browser, go to the account receivable, customer, all customers. Select US-008 Sparrow Retail. Go to Collect, Customer Balance, Collections to open a collection page. Go to Communicate, Email, Statement to Contact. Click OK to accept default value in the dialog box. If we are prompted for the mail option to use, select Use to Microsoft Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operation email client, and then click OK to receive the test message. Change the to address to your own email address. Ensure that the account specified in the SMTP settings can send as and send on behalf of our email account. The easiest way to ensure this is to use our email account in the SMTP setting. In the subject and the body for the message, select Send. Then message should be delivered to 1 of 5 minutes. This is the steps you can use for testing email sending from Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations to yourself email account to make sure the email subsystem is running properly. We can save time when we creating multiple email message by making email templates. Email templates contains pre-filled data that we specify, so we don't have to re-enter the same information for each article. An email template is attached to an email activity after the activity is created. Typically, each type of email activity has its own email template type. For example, an email activity created from a case record will use a case email template. We can also create global templates that are available for any record type, or personnel template available only to ourselves, or organizationally templates available to anyone in our organization. By using email template, users can save time and use standardized texts when sending email. We can transfer information from our organization's database to the bookmarks in a new document, and then use it in template that help us communicate efficiently with applicants and candidates. To do this, create a template that contains a standard text and some bookmarks or placeholders where the system data should be inserted. For example, we can insert address and contact information for an applicant into Microsoft Word document that we can use when we communicate with the applicant. To set up an email template, we just go to System Administration, Setup, Email, System Email Template. We can create email message content in multiple languages. The body could be a simple text or can have HTML tags in the email, as shown in the following figure on the screen. Power BI in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. Microsoft Power BI is a suite of business analytic tools that let us analyze data and share insights. By using Power BI tools, we can explore data and quickly create rich report and dashboard. We and our colleague can then use the report interactively on many devices. Dynamics 365 for finance and operations uses Power BI for data exploration. Power BI comprises the Power BI desktop app, Power BI services, and Power BI mobile. We import that and create reports by using the Power BI desktop app, transforming our data into rich, interactive visualizations. We can connect to, but are not limited to, Microsoft SQL Server, Microsoft Azure SQL Database, Excel, Oracle, and MySQL. Power BI dashboard were created with business executive role in mind. We can publish our reports and database to the Power BI services to create and share dashboard with our colleagues. We do not have to use the Power BI desktop app to create reports. We can sign in to powerbi.com, import data, and create report online. The report item can be then used in dashboard. After publishing the reports to powerbi.com, we can view and interact with the reports and the dashboard by using the Power BI mobile app for cross-platform mobile device. We can use the natural query language to ask questions from our data through Power BI Q&A. This interactive service quickly finds answer within our data. Before we can add Power BI components into Dynamics 365 for finance and operations, we need to configure Dynamics 365 for finance and operations to connect with the Power BI. To configure the workspace for Power BI, we need to first create an application in Azure Active Directory, grant permissions to Power BI, and then specify Power BI configuration in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. After Power BI is enabled and configured correctly, we can click Get Start button as shown on the figure here to link Dynamics 365 for finance and operations to Power BI. View the Power BI connector in Workspace. After Power BI Connect configured with Dynamics 365 for finance and operations first time use, we can select tile from Workspace that are available in Power BI, as shown in the figure here. Then place select tiles in Power BI section of the Workspace. We can also add or remove tiles at any time, and when we can drill in through by selecting one of the tile to view the detailed report in the embedded Power BI viewer as shown on the screen here. We can always open the Power BI content by clicking the Open in Power BI button to view details of transaction about that KPI or tiles. Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations provides integrated services and client applications that make it easier to generate, store, and distribute documents that support business activities. We can print documents by using either local printer or a network connected devices. We can also export Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations pages and reports directly from the client as a PDF file or Microsoft Office documents. Finally, the distributed workload lets we print business documents directly from a mobile device by using network resources. Also, printing requirements might vary. All industries typically must create hard copies of business documents by using Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations. Printing documents on a network device from hosted applications presents a unique set of challenges, such as printer drivers might not be available on the user device or computer. A user device might not be connected to a corporate network. By using dedicated host and following a few easy steps, system administrators can configure deployments so that user can print directly from business applications on network service device. Print scenario in Finance and Operations applications printing what we see to print what is currently shown in the browser. When we print a print-friendly version of web page is generated for the browser. This is supported by the browser's rendering of the HTML5 client. Interactive printing, we can export a PDF version of the report and download it to the browser to print precision document on a local connected device. This uses client applications and Microsoft Office 365 services. To view the PDF file, we need to install Adobe Acrobat Reader. Print on network device, which we can send a precision document to a domain printer device. The precision document is sent to a client application that runs on a server that is hosted in the customer's domain. This requires support from client application and from services that host in Microsoft Azure. Let's look at the services overview. The client-based solution lets customers manage the scale of their printing needs. Customers who have heavy volume printing workloads can install many document routine agents to increase the number of concurrent printing operations. Alternatively, some customers require few installations of the document routine agent to handle their anticipated printing needs. while documents that are produced by the hosted application are waiting to be printed on the network-connected device. They are stored in Azure blob storage. The extension sequence is as follows. First, the report is generated by Microsoft SQL Server Reporting Service SSRS and stored in the Azure blob storage. Attached printer settings are stored together with the document. Then second, the document routine agent queries the Azure Service Bus queue for active job. And last, the document is downloaded by document routine agent and spooled to the network printer. Install the document routine agent to enable network printing. We can enable network printer for specific companies by using in-client administrative pages. However, to access the network printing resources, we require Active Directory Domain Services ADDS authentication. The Microsoft Azure Active Directory Azure AD account that is used to configure the document routine agent must share the same domain as Azure tenant. Install document routine agent. Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations uses the document routine agent to manage the spooling of documents to network printer device. We can obtain the client by using client link that are embedded in the web application. Use the following procedure to download the application to our local computer. We are then be able to access local and network printers, which are connected to our computer. From a single deployment of Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations. After we have completed this procedure, the selected printer device are registered in the Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations applications network printer catalog. System administrators can now enable the printer for access from within the application. To register network printer in Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations, user needs to select Print on the toolbar. Then choose the printers want to make available for Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations. Give a name to the printer, then click OK. The network printer can now be used in Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations application. Client installation of the document routine agent can be shared by individuals who access the provisioned Finance and Operations environment. Therefore, the document routine agent must be installed on each computer where user connect to by using the browser. Microsoft recommends that we install agent on one or more printer servers or other domain hosted client that have access to network printer. The document routine agent support running in the background as a service. We need to ensure that we have downloaded the latest version of the client. The number of support network printer depends on the number of legal entities and the number of network printers deployed. If we have 50 printers and one legal entity, a single document routine agent can handle that load. To ensure high availability, consider having more than one routine agent. We can never have too many document routine agents because it is a mechanism for scaling the network printing services. If we have many printers and legal entities, Microsoft recommends that we do some performance testing to determine the number of document routine agents that we needed. To continue to run document routine agent DRA as a Microsoft Windows services, we must have a user name and the password of the domain account that is used to run these services. This information must be available after the upgrade is completed. To find information for the active service account, start Microsoft Management Console MMC service snap-in and select Microsoft Dynamics 365 document routine service in the list. Now let's talk about integrated data from multiple sources into common data service for apps. We can use common data service to enable the flow of data between Dynamics 365 for finance and operations and Dynamics 365 for services or sales, which we normally call CRM. For example, customer information in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations can flow to Dynamics 365 for services or sales. We don't have to manually move the data or use the third-party data integration tool. Microsoft seamlessly connect CRM and ERP together with Common Data Services, CDS. The prospect to cache templates that are available with the data integration feature enable the flow of data for accounts, contacts, products, sales quotation, sales orders, and sales invoice between Dynamics 365 for finance and operations and Dynamics 365 for sales. While data is flowing between Dynamics 365 for finance and operations and Dynamics 365 for sales, we can perform sales and marketing activities in sales, and we can handle other fulfillment by using inventory management in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. Now let's have a demo about work with Microsoft Office integration and use an Excel workbook designer. As we just reviewed, work with Microsoft Office integration with Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. There are a couple options after we click Office 365 icons. One is open in Excel. The another is export to Excel. The third one is export to Word. Now let's have a quick look on export to Excel. To do that, I'm going to go to a module called Fleet Management, and I open Customer. Here's the list of the customer. So by go to menu bar, that's Office 365 icon. If I click that, you will see Open in Excel, Export to Excel, and Export to Word. First, let's export to Excel. By click Export to Excel, I have a couple options. I can download right away to Excel format. I also can save that to OneDrive for business. And also I can open it with a SharePoint, which we're using Excel Online to open this file. Now I click download. System will show you that the file is downloaded. I click open. Now you can see the file is opened with the same column as we saw in the Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. You can click Enable Edit and change the data. This and run the pivot table if you want. If you can create a pivot table and the sort and massage data in Excel. But you cannot, if you change this data here, you cannot publish back to Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. So this is a called Open Download to Excel. The other option we can use is Export to Word. If we click Export to Word, click Download, system will open Microsoft Office Word. This is the format, export. And we can continue, enable edit, and change the data, massage data if we want. So this is the list of Karina Carson for this rental records, free customer information. Close. If I want to looking at Lars Gustin, I can select this line and export to customer information, download. Then instead of Caroline, I will see Lars rental, free customer rental information. Okay. So this is a export to Excel and export to Word. We also can use Open in Excel to update the data with the Excel add-in and publish back to Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. To do that, let's continue. I will choose Fleet Managed Customer Unified Data Entity and click Download, Open. Now you can see system try to open the data entity table for us. I click Enable Editing. The system is connected to my Excel Office connector to Dynamics 365 for financial operations. If I experience an authentication error, I can easily sign out and click Reload, then click Sign In. So I log in with my credential. Now, Microsoft Office add-in connecting to Dynamics 365 for financial operations and pulling my fleet customer data information to Excel. It's exactly the same as the one showing on browser. Now, a couple of things we can play with here. One is the Get button, which is open the option dialog. From here, we can specify server URL, which points to the different Dynamics 365 for financial operation environment. If, for example, I can open this data in one environment, for example, unit test environment, and I can switch this URL to another, for example, staging environment, and then publish again to copy this data to the staging environment. In the data connectors, we also have a couple options about refresh option will be auto size column based on the database setting. Refresh when open the cell, and we also can clear binary data to broken the relationship between this data sourcing to another tables. In the design option, we also can enable design or copy environment data. So, and also you can see the apps version. We can click applet if you want. Okay, this is the one. And now from here, I can easily change a phone number or email address. For example, if I change Charlie Carson's phone number from 662-555, I change it to, for example, 888-0149. Then I refresh. Okay, and I publish. So data change analyst, and if I go back to my Dynamics 365 for financial operations, refresh, now you can see this phone number is changed 888 from 555. Or I can also click design, system tries to retrieve the data source for me, and I can click the edit button, and in the edit button I'll be available to see what's the selected fields in this data sourcing, and I also can remove the one I don't like to showing on this data sourcing. For example, let's remove maybe driver license. Click remove. Now the driver license moved to the available field, which means it won't be available on this Excel table. If I happy with that, I click update. Now you can see my driver license column has disappeared. And, Click Done. And refresh. This always will have this table without driver license. If you want to add in new column to this table, we also can click Filter, click Edit, highlight available fields which is not in this table, and you can click Add or just double click. Now it will showing up in the available fields in the table, and you also be able to move the fields to, for example, just besides the last name, okay, here, then I click Update. Now you can see my driver license column show up. When you're done, you click Done. Another things we can use, for example, driver license is IMEI number. It's not reflect the real information. So if I click on the driver license number, system will automatically pull in the relationship of the table linked to driver license and show me the vehicle number with the same driver license number and the first name and last name on the fleet records table, vehicle rental ID. So each time the customer rent the vehicle, it's a create a record linked to the driver license and the link to this fleet customers. Okay. Also, I'll be able to using filter to filter on which information you want to show or which information you don't want to show. So you can say, maybe show me only the phone number begin with 4. Start with maybe 4. Then you click Done. The refresh. There are changes on the workbook. Continue, yes. So you can see only 2 records will show up here. Now you say, okay, because this is a phone number, it's wrong. I need to change all the 555 to 888. And when you're done, you can publish. After publish, then if I open my Dynamics 365 for financial operation client, you can see this 2 number 555. But after refresh, it's all changed to 888. Okay, so this is how we use Microsoft Office 365 with Dynamics 365 for finance operations to easily or efficiently manage, modify our data with Office Excel. When you're done, just need to close. And also, we can close this form. If you want to decide to save it for future use, we can save it. Or for my case, I just don't save it. Okay, now, next, let's look at how to use Excel Workbook Designer with Dynamics 365 for financial operations. To open Excel Workbook Designer, we need to go to Common And in the comma section, you will find called Office Integration. In the Office Integration, we can open Excel Workbook Designer. Here's the odd list of the workbook data entity from Dynamics 365 for financial operations. I can search the entity, for example, fleet customer. So now you can see this fleet customer entity open. We also can select verify entity security, verify configuration, verify control and region, kind of things. Okay, so again, fleet. It's showing fleet rental and fleet customer. I picked the fleet customer for this demo purpose. And you'll be able to select which fields you need to build your workbook. Normally, we always suggest if you see the key icon here, that's index mandatory fields. So we always suggest to include these fields in your workbook. Or you can put email, phone number as a contact. So when you select these fields, you'll be able to look at field related form. It will bring you the form where this fleet customer will cost. Or you can get entity record count. It will tell you total 6 of fleet customer. And you also can create a workbook accordingly. So I create a workbook and click download, click open. Now you can see for this workbook, I only driver license, first name, last name, email, and phone number. Enable editing, system linked Dynamics 365 for financial operation to Office add-in connectors, and only pulling the information we need. And you can save this for future uses if you want. Or what other option is, I can build my own work template for future use. For example, I close this form, do not save, and I can ignore what the fields I like to use. I can create call blank workbook, and download. Now, instead of showing the table in the Excel, that's nothing show up on Excel workbook. I can click enable editing. Dynamics 365 Excel add-in connectors is opened. First, I can change the sheet name to my workbook name, for example, fleet customer basic. Okay. Then I can click the designer to design my templates. In the designer, first thing, I need to add a table. When I click add a table, the entity data source available for me to select. In my case, I will select fleet customer. In the list, drop down. So fleet. Okay, here. Fleet management customer, fleet customer. So I select that entity data source and I click next. Now, here is all available fields from fleet customer table data entity. I'm able to select which fields I need. I can select first name. I click Control, select second, last name. I can select then cell phone number, address number 1 maybe, and city, country, and email. Okay, and state zip code. So I will choose only this field without driver license. Then I can click add. Now these fields added to my available here. So I can further maybe move up a couple fields to the address section. So have address, state, actually city should be moved up. Okay, too far. So city, state, and then I move this cell phone down, so country, region will be up with, and okay, zip code moved up. State, zip code, country, good. So now I have cell number, email. Okay, and if I'm happy with that, I click done. System will, this action will require data to be refreshed. Do you want to continue? Yes. Now you can see my templates is created with the first, last name, address, city, state, zip code, country, phone number, and email only. So when I'm happy with that, I can click done. And if I refresh, you can see the data will be pulled out for me only for these columns. And if it's good enough for my business, I can save that as my templates. So what I will do, I will save as in my document. I give the name called fleet customer basic. Save it. Now I can close this template. Pay attention. At this moment, if I close this window, and I go to my fleet manager, fleet management, customers, when I click icon of Office 365, I open in Excel, I only have a customer location and a fleet management customers, which unify, which I'm using. I create the new template called fleet customer basic. I'd like to showing here so other user can benefit, use this open in Excel option to quickly maintain fleet customer information within the Excel. To do that, I need to go to comma module, and in the comma module, we go to the Office integration. In the Office integration, we have a document template. So in the document template, I click that. System will list all the document templates available in my Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations instance. And that template can be Word, can be Excel. In my case, I will be using Excel. So I click New. And from here, I can browse my template file, which is Fleet Customer Basic. I select that, click OK. System loading my templates here. So this is a template type, it will be Excel. The template name called Fleet Customer Basic. Maybe I can, more user-friendly, I can put some space here. So that will be template name. If this template used for all the legal entity company, we can leave this option unselected. But if this template only for particular company, we be able to select that and choose the company I'm going to use this template. For example, if I choose this for USMF, okay, then when I log into another company, this template won't be available. We also can specify if this is a country region, which country available for this template or not, or specify in which language can use this template. Okay, so in my demo, I don't select that. Now I click OK. Now this template is added to the template format, document templates list. Okay, so it has some information about the company eligible or not. So now I'm in USMF. I close this form, and then I go back to my fleet management module, and I open my customer. Now, in here, if I click Office icon, you can see I have a new Fleet Customer Basic option in Open in Excel as a template. So if I click that, download, and open it, you can see I only have this basic column show up on the table. I can further enable edit to change or add, even add more columns, add more rows, new data. There are changes on the workbook that will be overridden by this refresh. Yes. So it's only showing charts for this formation. So that's because if you look at the system, I only have a one line selected. You'll be able to, when you every time export, you'll also be able to right-click on the title menu, go to the property window. You can say you want to export all rows or hide these columns, or you want to just export the highlighted selected rows. Okay. Now, if I log into USRT, company, in the same fleet management window, I try to export using icon of Office 365 integration icon. You can see the fleet customer basic is not available for me in USRT because I specify this template only be used in USMF. So I switch back USMF. It's showing again. Okay, this is a wrap up of how to using Excel add-in within Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. Prepare data for migration to Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. When it's time for data migration, the more we know, the easier it is to control operational complexity and reduce costs. Our customers' business continuity must be our priority. Learn how to prepare data for migration by using the data management framework to manage data entity and the data entity packages in Microsoft Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. Let's explore integration patterns, scenarios, and a solution for finance and operations. Also, this does not include technical detail about how to use or set up every integration pattern or how to work with sample code, but it is always wise to be aware of available integration tools. The following integration patterns are available for Dynamics 365 for finance and operations: OData, Batch Data API, Customer Services, Consume External Web Services, Excel integration. Let's first look at OData. OData is a standard protocol for creating and consuming data. The purpose of OData is to provide a protocol that is based on representation state transfer REST for create, read, update, and delete CRUD operations. OData applies web technology such as HTTP and JavaScript, object nations, JSON, to provide access to information from various programs. OData provides the following benefits: allowing developers to interact with data by using REST for web services, providing a simple and uniform way to share data in a discoverable manner, enable broad integration across products, enable integration by using the HTTP protocol stack. The Batch Data API uses the Batch Data API in scenarios that we require one or both data management package REST API and recurring integrations. Both APIs support data import scenario and data export scenario. For Dynamics 365 for finance and operations, we have tried to simplify this process for all parties who are involved, from integration solution builders to customer users. The package API let us integrate with Dynamics 365 for finance and operations by using data packages. The REST API can be used with both cloud and on-premise deployments. The Data Management Frameworks Package API uses OAuth 2.0 for authorizing access. The process of data migration and movement into and out of any enterprise system are critical pieces that any platform must support. Recurring integration does the following: build on data entity and the data management framework, enable exchange of documents or files between finance and operations and any third-party application or services, support several document formats, source mapping, extensible style sheets, language transformations, XSLT, and filters. Use a secure representation state transfer REST application programming interface API and authorization mechanisms to receive data from and send data back to integration system. Before the integrating client application can consume this endpoint, we need to create an application ID in Microsoft Azure Active Directory and give it appropriate permission to Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. When we create and enable a recurring job, we are prompted to enter the Azure AD application ID, and that will interact with that recurring job. Therefore, be sure to make note of the application ID when it's ready. Customer service. A developer can create custom services for Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. When a developer writes a custom service under a service group, the service groups is always deployed on two endpoints: SOAP endpoints, code examples for consuming customer service using SOAP are available in the Microsoft Dynamics AX integration GitHub repository. Along a JSON endpoint, code example are consume JSON service are available in Microsoft Dynamics AX integration GitHub repository. Consume external web services. This allows a developer consume web service by adding new class library to Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. Excel integration. The Microsoft Office integration capabilities provide user with product environment that helps them getting the job done by using Office products. Microsoft Excel can change and quickly analyze that data. The Excel data connector apps interact with Excel workbooks and all data services that are created for publicly exposed data entities. The Excel data connector add-in enable Excel to become a seamless part of the user experience in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. The Excel data connector add-in built by using Office Web Add-ins framework. The add-in runs in the task pane. Processing can be either synchronous or asynchronous. Often, the type of processing that we must use determine the integration pattern we choose. The chart here compare synchronous versus asynchronous integration patterns. A synchronous pattern is a blocking request and response pattern, where the caller is blocked until the recipient has finished running the Excel integration and give a response. An asynchronous pattern is a non-blocking pattern, where the caller submits the request and then continue without waiting for response. Usually, we can consider using OData as synchronous and batch data API for asynchronous integration scenario. Here is a summary of Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations integration tool, data management workspace, Office integration, and Excel workbook designer. If we have integration solutions that requires direct T-SQL access to the database, BYOD, build your own database, is the recommended upgrade path. Before we can configure the export option and use the BYOD feature, we must create a SQL database for production environment by using Azure portal. We should also create a SQL user account for sign in to the database. Make sure the record and save the server name, database name, and the SQL user ID and password. We will use these values when we configure entity export option. The BYOD feature lets administrators configure their own database and then export one or more data entities that are available in Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations into it. Specifically, this feature lets us complete tasks such as define one or more Microsoft Azure SQL database that we can export entity data from Finance and Operations into. Export either all the records full push or only the records that have changed or been deleted incremental push. Use the rich scheduling capability of the Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations batch framework to enable periodic exports. Access the entity database by using Transact SQL, T-SQL, and even extend the database by adding more tables. Export entity into multiple databases. The BYOD feature is recommended for when we do followings. For example, export data from Finance and Operations into our own database warehouse. Use analytical tool other than Power BI, and those tools require T-SQL access to data. Perform batch integration with other systems. If we are using the BYOD feature for integration with Business Intelligence BI tool, consider creating a SQL Premium database. Premium database supports clustered column store index, CCRS. CCRS are in-memory index that improved performance of read query that are typically in analytical and reporting workloads. If we are using the BYOD feature to export data into staging database or for general integration purpose, we can use a standard database. We can use the export page to export data from Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations into many targeted data formats, such as comma separate value CSV file. This page also supports SQL database as another destination. The value of the logic server name has format like your SQL Azure server name, .database, .windows, .net, which can be found in Azure portal by selecting SQL database menu. For scenario in which reporting system read data from BYOD, there is always the challenge of ensure that the reporting system get consistent data from BYOD while the sync from Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations is in progress. One trigger is supported per bulk insert operation. The size of the bulk insert is determined by the maximum insert commit size parameter in the data management framework. We can achieve this result by not having the reporting system read direct from the staging table that we are created by the BYOD process. The staging table holds the data while data is being synced from Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations instance and hence will be consistently changing. Using the SQL trigger feature to determine when the data sync from Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations has been completed and then hydrate the downstream reporting system. To prepare for data migration, the first step is to identify relevant legacy system that the customer is currently using. Then we need to identify and import static data that is common between industry. Let's look at each steps when we test data migration and validate output. Before start, we need to identify relevant legacy systems. A legacy system is a business solution that has a few common characteristics with current solutions in the market, such as being based on outdated technology or design, being incompatible or difficult and costly to integrate with current system, and potentially unavailability of being purchased from vendors because it is unavailable and discontinued. Each legacy system might have a different data export format option that must be considered as part of planning for data migration. And we should be prepared for data extraction from legacy data source. Then identify and import static data that is common between industries. All customers might have different verticals such as distribution and trade, manufacturing, and retail. Even we manage a customer's data migration that is only focused on one specific industry, such as manufacturing, we still need to investigate to determine whether their customers and suppliers who might be in different industries, such as resellers, which are retailers who interchange data with our customer. When we plan data migration, we need to identify common data that are not frequently changed, such as country code, zip or postcode, states or regions. Identifying the common stacks data between different verticals or industries helps reduce the costs and prepare the source data, clean it, and get customer consensus prior to import the data into Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations. Third step is to create and review a test plan for data migration. Our plan for data migration need to be ready to guide us through the process. Make sure that right system permissions are applied on the source resources to have a successful data migration. Make sure that we back up the database and source files that we plan to migrate. If we encounter any issue during migration, such as corrupt, incomplete, or missing files, we need to correct the error and restore database from the backup. We need to extract all data from source system and then migrate data to target, which is Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations. Then we need to clean the data and transform it into the proper format for transfer to Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations. Finally, load our cleaned and duplicate data into our Dynamics 365 for finance operations, data management, map fields, and import data to finance and operations. Make sure to always monitor our data migration during the process so that we can detect and resolve any issues or problems if they arise. Once the migration is complete, ensure there are no connectivity problems with source and Dynamics 365 for finance and operation systems. Our goal is to make sure that all data correctly migrated by performance, unit, system, regulation, and other applicable tests. Do not forget the simplest method, which is using built-in reports and inquiries in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations, and then have customers, key stakeholders verify data and compare the migrated data with their legacy system. For example, assume we are migrating the chart of account, post transactions, and so on. After we migrate data for a specific finance period, we run a trial balance print and then ask the CFO to compare the results and match them against financial report on their legacy system before migrating the next period. When test plan is ready, the fourth step is to identify and extract source data. When we and our team have analyzed the data and retrieved relevant information from data source, like a database, in a specific pattern, it is then the time to extract the relevant data. We might need to perform further data processing, which involve adding metadata and other data integration. Another process is the data workflow. After source data extracted, the fifth step is to identify relevant data entities and elements. We need to know what source of data are important for analysis. If information being analyzed is only related to the scenario at hand, it should be set aside because we should only use data sources that are absolutely relevant to the scenario for migration. We should never bring all the data from multiple data sources to Dynamics 365 for finance and operations in one occurrence. Rather, we should have a proper plan to guide us according to the business scenario. The sixth steps is to go generate field mapping between source and target data structure. First, we need to identify the format of the data source. We can view the format in data management from the configure data source tile. In the configure data source tile, we can create and modify source of data for migration. If we have identified data source and their relevant entities, we can use different types of data source depending on the format exported from external system, some of which are legacy system. After data mapping successfully finished, the last step is to support the transition between the existing and the migrated system. Analyze the data between what is in the legacy system and what has been imported to the Dynamics 365 for finance and operations is an important part of data migration. This provides an overview of the source that and its corresponding target table that is represented by data entities in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. it's important to know how each system works and how the data within each system is structured. We also need to validate the information discovered in the analysis phase of each phase in data migration, and then ensure that all data is properly migrated by running certain reports or inquiries. By validating the data, our team can focus solely on structure, manipulation, and movement, and data assurance. Here are screenshots of identifying the format of data source. As we can see, we can view the format in data management from the configure data source tile. And in configure data source, we can create and modify sources of data for migrations. Upon adding an entity into the data management project for either import or export, Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations creates fields mapping between the source data and target table for each data entity, which matches the scheme of the table associated with the data entity. The type of the field and whether it is a required field are examples of the metadata of the table that is being shown in the Mapping Details tab. Here, we can choose to ignore blank values and select text identifier to properly use the text value from the source data fields. We can use label for enumerate fields instead of its value. Now, let's have a quick look at the demo of how to mapping source data to target data entity. Every time when we do data migration, we go to the workspace called Data Management. We also can open it in Dashboard. If I move down, Dash Management. So we click Dash Management. It's opened the Dash Management workspace for us. From here, I can define configure data source. Configure data source opens. I can easily create a new. For example, I can say the data source will be Dynamics 365. The type will be operations because I'm using the operations of the Dynamics 365 financial operations. So I can save it. Or see the new source name is created. It says operations. Or I can create Excel format like it's already been done. You can change that by click that, and you can specify its Excel format. Source name is Excel, and this is an Excel description. Types of file, the default extension Excel SX, and the format Excel. And you'll be able to select delimited, fixed width, XML, Excel. This is all the file type format available for data management. You also can select language, code, whatever. So this is the data source. After we define the data source, we can use, if we do the data migration, for example, we can export the data from legacy system or another Dynamics 365 for financial operation environment and import to the current environment with my legal entity login here. So to do that data migration, if I click import, I can give the group name call, for example, fleet customer. Assume I copy the information from another system to here, Dynamics 365, and give name fleet customer import. And to import, I will add a file from I give it the entity name. So I have a fleet management customer. So open the entity. I specify, say, hey, this is Excel format. And then I can load source data in from Excel. I open that, and using my fleet customer basic, I just created a template. System will automatically loading the information. System loading multi-worksheets found in the file. You must select a worksheets in the lookup. So because that file has multiple worksheets, so I have to select the fleet customer basic. Okay, so system start using these worksheets to mapping the data to this entity. When this mapping finished, the screen refreshed and click close. Now you see in the mapping I have a triangle here. So that indicates my source data and the target entity has the discrepancy for the mapping. So I can click this mapping icon. System will open the mapping virtualization, and you can see this is the mapping system automatically generated, which is not right. So what we need to do, we need to mapping the detail, and we can automatically to mapping the information. So in the address one, we can mapping to address one. The reason it's not automatic mapping because source field title with staging field title is not in the same not in the same words. Here's address space one, here's address line one. So in the country region, we also need to select the country here. And in the email, we can select the email. Well, email here. Now we can mapping first name and the last name, the phone number, maybe cell phone, and then the last one, zip code, which is here in zip code here. So when you have this mapped properly, this is a kind of exercise we have to do if a legacy system have the fields source data with a different title with the, our entity staging fields titles. Now, if we're done, we can click save. And now system is save your mapping. And if you mapping virtualization, system automatically link everything. Now you can save it and close. Now you see my mapping is successfully no longer warning to happen. In that case, I can easily to import from the legacy system or Excel sourcing data to my USMF environment as a fleet management customers. This is for a demo about how to mapping sourcing data to target legal entity data entities staging field data. Thank you. Practice questions. Question 1. How will you use map fields automatically within Dynamics 365 for finance and operations? A. Use mapping virtualization tool. B. Generate source mapping. C. Use data task automation tool. D. Copy configuration data. E. Use data template. The correct answer is generate sourcing mapping. When we mapping source data to target data entities, user can click generate sourcing mapping, let Dynamics 365 for finance operations automatically to map the fields to the between the source and the data entities. So the correct answer is generate sourcing mapping. Question 2. What should you do to import a large volume of data from multiple systems to avoid performance issues? A. Create a ODBC source and import directly from SQL database. B. Enable data import in recurrences. C. Configure entity execution parameter to make the data import multi-threaded. D. Enable multiple data entities. The correct answer is a C. Configure entity execution parameter to make the data import multi-thread. ODBC source is only can create a connection between the SQL database and the target data entity. It will not solve the performance issues. Enable data import in recurrency. It's only repeatedly import your data on a timely basis. This is not to avoid performance issues. Enable multiple data entity. It's a create different data entity mapping and for different data to import between two systems. It will not increase performance. Thank you for attending training on MB-300 Dynamics 365 Unified Operations Core Fundamental Exam Preparing 4th day session. In next session, we will teach about data management, user acceptance test, and prepare to go live. Again, to well prepare this exam, I will strongly encourage you to use Microsoft self-paced learning resources for Dynamics 365 for finance and operations, which you can find at aka.ms/learn. Then search the product of Dynamics 365 finance and operations. Microsoft also offers multiple training and certification resources to us, such as microlearning, online courses, instructor-led training. We can pick any of these options which is suitable for our learning and exam preparing. Here are additional resources about MB-300 exam details. Again, thank you.